Hello everyone, it's Cam of Hope 2 Canine Foundation. We're going to have a brief Q&A, Fix It Friday today. We don't have any official submitted questions this week, so I'm going to tell you what you need to fix that you might not know you need to fix. And we'll see if that prompts any conversation. We're going to be discussing thresholds really in particular. And then also some things about spatial pressure. And, what I've noticed a lot of times when I'm coaching our clients is that it's so much easier for them to understand some of the nuance of their dog's body language and communication that they're making through body movement, through the use of their pressure, their spatial pressure, once we train the dog, because now they have such a contrast of experience where the dog gives them space and yields to their presence or to their oncoming pressure. Or where the dog, does the opposite, right? They see that yielding, that show of respect and good manners towards the trainer, but then the dog turns around and operates differently towards the human, and it can happen literally in the same context of 10 minutes, right? Or 2 minutes. I don't have comments coming through, so hopefully there's not something goofy going on today. If you guys are here, would you just say a little hello and verify for me, please, that I have audio coming through and all that jazz? I would be grateful. And I guess maybe I'll power up the computer here just in case we have a problem. So because we see this a lot, the contrast between what the dog will do for the trainer after, handful of days, few weeks of the right communication and the right direction and accountability. And then we show that to the owner in contrast to what they've been experiencing in day-to-day life. It really is a standout aspect of what I consider to be just the most basic must do in your home life dynamic shifts if you are wanting to eliminate significant behavior problems. Anything from separation anxiety to a dog being reactive, aggressive, territorial, possessive, resource guarding, any of these problems are going to be influenced positively or negatively based on whether or not you get this concept, whether or not you enforce and understand the nuance, the subtle undermining that takes place when you don't enforce healthy, appropriate boundaries and respect of how your dog engages with you in this way. It's all going to come back to these little moments. So the last 2 sessions that I had, 2 dogs that I sent home, I should say, multiple sessions. But the last 2 dogs that I sent home, let's pull up Facebook. I still can't see any comments from you guys. So the last 2 dogs that I sent home, shout out to Nala's owners and Oliver's owners. Those were both biting dogs. And in both cases, same results applied, where it was just incredible how nuanced some of the attitudinal issues were being demonstrated in this dog's behavior, both of these dogs' behavior, moving through the house, coming out of the crate, going to doorways, how the dog exited to the backyard for a simple bathroom break, and how the dog exited the front door in order to go for a walk. All of these things, including how they load in and out of the car. They were all consistently moments that were being missed where the wrong message was being shared with that dog, okay? A message that was saying, hey, it's okay for you to push past me. It's okay for you to take my space. It's okay for you to ignore me. It's okay for you to blow me off and, not follow through on the thing that I just asked you to do. Or the human is basically communicating, I don't have a sense of what I deserve here. So your opinion is stronger and more valid than mine. Does that make sense, guys? Thank you, Jessica. I see your comment, but that's it. So what we really, really, really want to prioritize here is getting the dog in the right state of mind. And unfortunately, a lot of our pet owners have a super bad habit of rushing these processes and allowing excitement or over arousal, okay? And just presumptiveness in the dog instead of prioritizing that the dog slow down, pay attention, calm down, connect, and check in with us. They get, hey, Sean, I'm glad you're here. I can only see you guys on the desktop for some reason today. So Oh, let's see. I'll try something here and maybe I'll get a refresh option and it'll help me out. Okay, I'm gonna put you down now since I won't, I will need to watch the comments on the laptop. Hold on. Gotta love cleaning day. It's the best. Okay. So, back to my train of thought here. In all of these cases where the dog is demonstrating the behavior list that I mentioned, could be minor to severe, but whatever it is that bothers you, right? Whatever it is that bothers you is a lack of your credibility, and trust and respect are at the core of what we need to build and achieve in the dynamic with that dog, in the relationship with the dog. +1 for why dog training isn't just about tools or strategies. It's very, very much a combination of we use tools and strategies to get the point across, but number one, we're after a relationship shift, okay? We're after a demonstration to the dog that you are believable because you follow through. You're consistent. You don't say one thing and do another thing, right? All of these things have to be combined with that relationship adjustment, that you are calm and collected, that you're not a reactive person yourself, or that you're not a highly anxious person yourself, or that you're not an insecure, nervous person who doesn't see themselves as worthy of being heard and taking up space, right? If these are your challenges, if this is your baggage, right? So everybody got it. Then it's going to be reflected to your dog in how you interact with them or don't, right? That passivity maybe of not caring or not having a plan and a structure and enforcing of certain things. That's going to be combined with the tools you use, and it will either bring the whole picture into clarity, right? It will either enforce everything and the dog will go, got it, no problem, because you're calm, assertive, you're self-respecting, and you're using tools that are effective and make sense to me as a dog. Or your piece of the puzzle in the relationship will erode the tools that you use, right? It won't be enough for you just to treat and click, or goes the other way, click and treat, or, share a leash correction or a prong collar correction, e-collar correction, to use a verbal correction, a bonker, whatever your thing is. It won't work if we aren't putting that whole picture together and we aren't recognizing that we have to show up in that relationship. So this is why I talk about spatial pressure. And you guys can go to YouTube for Hope 2 Canine, and you can do a little search on YouTube, Hope 2 Canine Foundation, Spatial Pressure 101. If April, my assistant, is here, maybe she can drop that link in the comments even to make it super easy for you, but it should be on our YouTube channel. It's a video that I created when I was in Georgia. Hello to my Atlanta peeps. I was teaching a seminar there, and a little pitty that was adoptable was being utilized for the seminar by her foster mom, and she was the most perfect example of spatial pressure. So we literally finished the seminar, and I said, can I please just borrow this dog and do a demo real quick to explain what is this spatial pressure thing, because she does the dance so perfectly, okay? She's a really awesome little dog that the foster ended up failing and keeping. Thank you, April. And Liz, I see your comment reinforcing those boundaries. It is amazing, and I'm so proud of you for doing that, because it's a change, right? It's a commitment that even if you're tired or rushed or it's, irritating or inconvenient, whatever's going on in your world, it is a commitment that you're going to see it through no matter what. And when you do it consistently in the foundation building, it's not a problem long term. It doesn't have to be so much work later. It just has got to be something you kind of die on that hill, right? As far as learning, understanding, and enforcing in the foundation. So that later you have a dog who's like, I believe her when she says that's a no, because she always followed through, okay? So watch that video, guys, Spatial Pressure 101, because it'll keep me from having to repeat a whole lot of everything. But the premise of it is spatial pressure, how you use pressure in your space, pushing and pulling, right? That's our dog's number one language, really. If you watch the dogs, they're not talking to each other with words. They're not all about, bullshit on the top. They don't do all of this like, how are you? I'm fine. I'm great, right? We're such liars. Dogs are so honest. And when they interact with each other, They do so with the pressure of, hey, I feel more opinionated than you, and I feel that I own more of the space than you, and you have to give me a certain level of respect. Or it could be that you'll notice they turn their head, the ears go back. We see that really soft body language. We see dogs roll over. These are things that are much more like, I just really hope that you like me because it's really important to me that you do. That would be my puppy right now. In much of her body language and communication. Not all of it, but a lot of it. So this is the current challenge that I want you to focus and put emphasis around overcoming, which is that you have a clear understanding of what it is to use spatial pressure. Your dogs really rely on this information first and foremost. They're taking cues from you before and regardless of what you say, any command that you give, right? And they're oftentimes getting very mixed messages. For example, if you step into the dog, you're pushing them away. Think about it, okay? If I'm talking to you or having an interaction in public, or at my home, whatever, and I'm talking to you and I go, hey, you're probably going to feel like backing up, right? That pressure that I just put into the space that you hold is going to push you. You'll naturally find yourself leaning back from people that get in your bubble. Now, of course, we're all doing that for COVID, but just bear with me. On the flip side, if I want you to follow me somewhere, it doesn't make sense for me to go, follow me, right? I'm going to go like this, follow me, okay? Same thing with our dogs, guys. This pushes, this pulls, okay? And the more we turn our shoulders where we want to go or turn our head, the more cues they're taking from which way we're going to go. That's why they're so flipping awesome when it comes to competition sporting work, because they are seeing every little micro movement. You could be in a cool little focused heel with your dog, and if you go like this, the dog's going to pivot left with you, right? They are picking up on that nuance mightily. So it's really important that you learn this concept of how to use spatial pressure, and you don't push your dog when you want them to come to you. You don't pull your dog when you want them to down, okay? When we want a dog to sit or down, we want to put pressure on strategically to help them ergonomically go into the movement that we're looking for. Is this interesting? Am I hitting on something you haven't really been thinking about a whole lot? I hope so. Because when you learn to do this around specific things in your day-to-day engagement with your dog, your lifestyle of movement through your world, and how you enforce this respectful use of space. I'm just refreshing because I can't see comments on the phone today. When you learn to pay attention to this, you get you give your dog so much more clarity about who you are, what you expect, what's important to you, where their brain needs to be at, their state of mind. You deal with attitude, you interrupt pushiness, rudeness, right? All these different things that are insidiously creating the other big picture problems you're experiencing. When your dog disconnects from you on the walk and becomes huffy puffy or really reactive, it's because they believe they can. Because in the house, they disconnect from you all the time. You see what I mean? You don't check them about those little moments where they're like, peace, I'm past you, out the door. No respect, no check-in, no looking to you for direction, right? Or same thing coming right back in. I just recorded a little video this morning of me doing this with 3-month-old Clark, little Glen of them all, because I missed the best showing of this example when she did it coming in the first time from her first potty. I didn't have my phone with me, and it was drama. She was so irritated with me that I upheld my expectation that she be patient and respectful at that threshold. And I'm only asking for a teensy-weensy bit with a baby, not asking for them to sit and stare at me. I don't care about that. I want that dog to understand you just don't rush and push and be rude and presumptive, and it starts right now. It starts right now. That doorways represent calm the energy down, check in, let's go together on my terms, okay? So I missed the first one, which was full of barking and pouncing and running away and coming back again and being so irritated with me. And the second time was definitely a bit better. She had much clearer understanding of what she was supposed to do going outside, but she still struggled with that baby puppy stuff. And so we got a video this morning of that second go. Pardon me, my nose is starting to run. And yeah, they sure do, Chrissy. They really, really follow visual cues, okay? So, got a video that will go into the Raising a Rockstar group. That's our online puppy development group. And I'll be talking through a lot more nuance about that and just the different types of ways that we want to do this that are age appropriate, okay? Regardless, it starts right now. And it's super important that we build in the dog an understanding that we control that transitionary zone, especially so that we can improve the walk where the stakes are so high. Outside represents massive excitement, arousal, stimulation. The dog's nose is on overdrive. They're stimulated by all the sights and sounds, depending on the type of dog. The anxiety or insecurity could be up or down because they're overwhelmed or stressed, or maybe they're just really heightened in drive and they are way more confident. So, add to that maybe a leash on the walk, right? And some of the restriction and frustration or tension and defensiveness that can happen there, where a dog can be perfectly social and fine off the leash and then struggle on. These are all factors for why, if you get picky about this stuff and you die on that hill of respectful thresholds with a dog whose behavior is not where you want it to be, right? If you're having any sort of issues, and you really pay attention to what does it mean to use your body pressure to own that space and step in front of the dog. Okay, here's another example. When I square off with a dog, it means I'm standing straight in front of them. I am facing their shoulders just like this, okay? I'm going to be much more confrontational, clearly confrontational. I should see that dog back up. That's why I want you to watch that video. Because in that video that's in the comments, Spatial Pressure 101, I don't even need my hands. I'm just dancing with her. Boop, 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 walking forward, walking back, turning, she follows, turn around, I can push her. If we confront the dog and square off with them and we walk in to push them away from the doorway, right? So we are walking toward the animal. The door is behind us, just like this. We're gonna claim that space in a way that dog understands. Now pay attention to what your dog does in the face of that, right? Because you'll see all manner of things. A vigilant, sensitive, pressured dog is going to back up and look at you. They might even sit, they might down, okay? A entitled, pushy, willful dog that is accustomed to, what the hell are you doing? Get out of my way, might look around you, but sort of give you some hesitation, or sit and look around you and try to dodge you and like, get out of my way, I'm trying to look at what's outside, okay? They may push still, and you may have to use your body to actually make contact with that dog, buck them with your knee a little bit, really walk into them to cruise them away. Justin, thank you so much. Ditto, and happy Friday. You'll see all manner of responses, right? There's a whole variety of what is going to come out in response to your boundary, in response to you asking for a different level of respect, and for that dog to demonstrate some impulse control, right? So pay attention. Look at the little tiny micro adjustments that your dog may make or not make at all. A really willful, confident dog. I've had, a few of these situations. Really willful, confident dog that just doesn't freaking like me in a training program, right? Maybe it's a dog that's come in because it's a human aggressive dog. It's really a dog I have to earn. That dog may plant itself sitting or standing, and it may literally do this, my crotch, okay? I may walk right into it, right? And it may literally do one of these where it won't look at my eyes, okay? Or it will go like this, and it won't look at my eyes, but it will not yield to my body. And I think somewhere we had, maybe on the old channel, we might have lost it on our old Home to Canine channel. I wish I had it. We had a bull terrier in, need I say more, who absolutely would not down for the owner. And sure as shit, we had the same challenges early on. It was a beast to teach that dog to down. Remote collar was the key because it was a new sensation. It could be more timely. It could be more clear to the dog. And it was just softer, than getting into that battle of wills. That's another reason I love the educator system of collars and any high-end remote collars, because they're actually softer than a color correction with a leash, they're less pressure than most of the things a dog is experiencing correctively when you use those low levels. So you can, really start to actually get in there and break up some of the gears that are stuck in the brain, unlock them and get them going again, right? Where the dog's like, I'll consider responding to that sensation because it's not as offensive to me, okay? Or it's not as overwhelming to me if it's a sensitive dog, soft dog, fearful dog. Okay, back to my point though. That dog, it was such a psychological process to hold the line and not move my pressure. This happens all the time with dogs, but a lot of it is very unconscious to me in terms of what I'm doing. Most trainers who get this, they're doing it very intuitively and unconsciously, which is why we often forget to capture it and show the pet person, right? But we see the pet person deal with it here all the time, like at the doorway. When they arrive for an evaluation and we're watching and paying attention to how do they move through the doorway with their dog, and they'll go up to the doorway and they'll kind of tell the dog, hey, wait, sit, wait, stay, right? They'll do one of these. And they might use their body or the leash to push on the dog, and the dog is like doing this stuff, looking around. I want to go inside that house right now, pushing, or it's like, holding really firmly its body pressure confrontationally and not moving the head or not making eye contact to wait for permission. And it's like that bar is way too low. We see right away that bar is way too low at home for what constitutes an appropriate state of mind and respectful body movement and all of that stuff when the owner is claiming a space, okay? So, we deal with it here. We set a new standard. We show that owner that the dog has learned that thresholds are, now demanding of calmness, respect, attention, etc. And then we teach that owner how to enforce it, and it has everything to do with them understanding, number one, spatial pressure, how to use your body, not just the tools. E-collar tool is awesome, and it bridges the gap for where this stuff is a little less intuitive for people. But man, I can't even tell you how great it is if you build self-awareness around this, because it's going to influence everything else you do. That's the cool thing about a lot of good dog training, is it teaches you about your communication. It teaches you about your leadership skills or the lack thereof. It teaches you about slowing the F down and not rushing things that really matter, because over time they're so cumulatively and insidiously eroding your credibility and costing you in your believability with people, not just dogs, okay? You become resentful because the family, expects you to do things and doesn't ask, or they show up unannounced, or these are all the same things, guys. The same things, right? They don't tell you about stuff, and then when you find out last minute that there's a thing going on and you're supposed to be there and it's inconvenient to you, do you actually deal with it? Do you actually confront it and say, hey, this is not okay with me. I have a life, I need to know about this in advance. It's the same stuff. Okay, it's the same stuff. So we talk to our clients, we coach our owners to understand this is how you use your body. It's your first and best tool. And these are the moments when you especially need to nail it. And it's those transitions. How the dog comes out of the crate is the same. Use your body, use the crate door. No rushing, no pushing, no inappropriate, disrespectful, crazy brain dogs busting through those crates. They need to be calm. They need to understand that's a transition of coming into your space, and that needs to happen on your terms when you release them. And to reward them for a calm state of mind is the best case scenario of releasing that animal out based on that reverence. This has nothing to do with obedience, right? We use obedience as a means of communicating certain things that we can reinforce with our dogs so that they know that commands are not optional. But in these transitions, this is the most important thing to clarify, I think, for people, is that it's not about getting a sit. It's not about getting that dog to physically move into an obedience command if the brain isn't in the right place. We must have the brain in the right place. And then guess what? The dog will sit as a byproduct of that. Nala's family saw that this week. By the way, that went so well, you guys. I haven't had a chance to post anything. But she and Oliver were my recent aggressive cases, and they both graduated doing so well. I'm super, super happy for these families, and I'm really excited to continue to support them through the ups and downs, because there will be some, for guaranteed, sure. But I have some content that I'll share up of how Nala landed. She was the Malinois that I've had that I told you guys about, have posted some updates on, who was really heavy case on arrival. So Nala's family got to see that. The level of respect and credibility for that animal in those transitions for me after 3 weeks versus how she behaved towards the owner because of the relationship piece, right? And then when we get deep down into why, we know that, not only is it a difference of understanding of dog language, right? And just technique, but it's a difference of lifestyle and what's been shared and what that dog knows about these owners in terms of their plate being super full, their hands being super full, literally with new babies, both active duty, working hard. They're amazing people, and they just didn't know how those little moments of not addressing her disrespect for their body pressure and owning their space were so eroding to their credibility, okay? This may be one of those tangents that I've gone on that is not very succinct, and I hope not, but if it is, I'm sorry. It just really felt like a hot topic this week based on how many times I have seen this come up and be something that we needed to dig deep down into and get really picky about. Yeah, Stephanie, awesome that you're here. Doesn't it sound familiar? It's amazing how difficult this can be. Now, guys, to be fair, just because I know these things, just because dog trainers know these things, doesn't mean they're good at them in real life. Doesn't mean they're good at them with difficult people in their world, right? We can still have issues of boundary setting in other categories at different levels of discomfort that we experience, right? So yeah, horses and cows are a fantastic teaching experience for this, for spatial pressure, right? I mean, just so sensitive, and you cannot move those animals simply because you demand it. That's not how it works. So it really does get down to any horse handling, which I grew up doing, really does get down to the nitty gritty of your own state of mind and how you internally show up with your energy, communicating things to that animal. If you're not in the right headspace, forget it. You're not going to control a horse or a cow. You're just not. And there are some incredible workshops, by the way, available and or coming for you as dog owners if you want to get deeper down into this as, hobbyist trainers. Markham Mountain Dog School is a really good one to follow. Sean's got some events that she's building for dog owners to go and learn a lot more about this in person on her property with those large animals, so you can really take yourself to the next level in terms of that awareness, that self-awareness of what you're communicating that might be mixed messages and undermining what you're trying to accomplish. So please go over and follow her, because Sean does a fantastic job when she's working with clients, and she has a whole different set of things to offer when it comes to really getting down to the nitty-gritty of that animal husbandry piece and daily maintenance and care. But combining that with some other, aspects of just overall animal stewardship of some of these other species, really excited for what it is that she's offering out there in Arizona. So, and maybe you'll see me there too, right? We've been talking that up. So anyway, guys, I really do hope that this is helpful and a good reminder, if nothing else, to our clients who've graduated, that if things seem like they're backsliding and just not as tight as they were with your dog, we really encourage you to get pickier about these small moments, because they're more important than you realize. They just are. I can't understate how impactful they are and how much less we have to correct and how much less we need to avoid and work around behavior problems when this is the message that's being sent day in and day out consistently with our dogs. Stephanie, who commented, is an established client. She started her puppy out in all the right ways, and she's still bumped up against this wall. When your plate's full, when you're in a rush, when you're missing these little moments and you start to then feel stressed and frustrated, rightfully so, the dog feels that and they're like, I see you. You don't got this. And they just take over, okay? You want to get you down here with some local colleagues? Yeah, Chrissy, plan it up. Plan it up. Let's do it. Late this year, early next. Let's do it. Absolutely. Book me up. I would love that. That Atlanta seminar, by the way, if you joined late, the video in the comments for Spatial Pressure 101, that was such a great event. I really was honored to be brought out by Bullseye Rescue, they're no longer operating, I think, but just an incredible community, great people, And events like that to me are such a blast because they're like drinking from a fire hose, but man, you get the deets you need, and you get excited about, being able to take effective action in a short period of time. So I really love doing that stuff and can't wait to get the traveling going again for in-person workshops. Hannah, that's awesome to hear, because you also fully trained dog, plenty of experience, great relationship, and yet those little stupid moments, man, where she just wasn't getting a firm enough message of appropriate attention and calm state of mind in those crucial moments, they're really, really powerful. The other one would be coming out of the car, guys. A lot of you drive your dogs to places where you want to do, cool activities together, exercising them, but how they exit the car is inappropriate. It's in too high a state of arousal or excitement, and they're too pushy. You're not doing the crate threshold or the door threshold. You're not having that dog exit and then immediately be reminded that they need to be conscientious of your leadership in that situation. So dial it in, get picky, and you will see some really, really good things come from that, okay? That is all I wanted to bring you today. So if you guys have other questions or anything, please drop them in, and I'll try to tackle real quick. But otherwise, I'm going to keep this from getting too long, and hopefully we'll hear from some folks later on the replay. Comment and let me know that you watched the replay. I would really love that. And feel free, if you have questions about this any further, then I will come back and answer them on the comments. Sorry about the noise. All right, guys. And you can always shoot us an email, april@hope2canine.com or cameron@hope2canine.com. You can always shoot us an email if you have a question come up to mind anytime, day or night, that you want me to bring into a Fix It episode. I absolutely will, okay? Hey, Susan. I just saw your hello. Thanks for hanging out, you guys. Always love being able to come and chat and talk dog. It's good stuff, huh? We're going through a location change, FYI, so we'll have some more information for you guys soon. Not really going to be too much of an impact other than our community class. We'll have probably an adjusted location here, potentially as early as March, but stay tuned. I don't know anything yet other than that. Just putting you on radar. All right, guys, take good care. I'll talk to you later.